Hi, First Church. So the sun just came out, and briefly, it's a beautiful summer afternoon. And I'm going to read a poem that relates to the summer. Recently, I was reading an incredible biography of the English poet Percy Shelley, who was writing in the early 19th century. And he died from drowning from a boating accident in the summer of 1823. And one of his last poems that he wrote probably on the beach of the tiny fishing village of Lerici, where he was staying during that fateful final summer. He wrote a poem called Lines Written in the Bay of Lerici, and they're some of the most haunting and beautiful lines I've ever read. And I hadn't read them until I got to the end of the story in this wonderful biography, and I was touched by Shelley's story, his tragic end in the Gulf of Spezia off the coast of Tuscany. And I want to read you these lines. So this poem was, it's a love poem. It was written for a woman called Jane Williams that he seems to have fallen in love with in his final few months of life in Tuscany. And I want to read it to you. Lines written in the Bay of Lerici. Bright wanderer, fair coquette of heaven, to whom alone it has been given to change and be adored forever, envy not this dim world, for never but once within its shadow grew one fair as you, but far more true. She left me at the silent time when the moon had ceased to climb the azure dome of heaven's steep, and like an albatross asleep, balanced on her wings of light, hovered in the purple night ere she sought her ocean nest in the chambers of the west. She left me, and I stayed alone, thinking over every tone, which though now silent to the ear, the enchanted heart could hear like notes which die when born, but still haunt the echoes of the hill, and feeling ever, oh too much, the soft vibrations of her touch, as if her gentle hand even now lightly trembles on my brow. And thus, although she absent were, memory gave me all of her, that even fancy dares to claim. Her presence had made weak and tame all passions, and I lived alone in the time which is our own. The past and future were forgot, as they had been and would be not. But soon the guardian angel gone, the demon reassumed his throne in my fair heart. I dare not speak my thoughts, but thus disturbed and weak, I sat and watched the vessels glide along the ocean bright and wide, like spirit-winged chariots sent o'er some serenest element, to ministrations strange and far. As if to some Elysian star, they sailed for drink to medicine such sweet and bitter pain as mine. And the winds that winged their flight from the land came fresh and light, and the scent of sleeping flowers and the coolness of the hours of dew and the sweet warmth of day was scattered o'er the twinkling bay. And the fisher with his lamp and spear about the low rocks damp crept and struck the fish who came to worship the delusive flame. Too happy, whose pleasure sought extinguishes all sense and thought of the regret that pleasures cease, seeking life alone, not peace. One of the reasons the poem moves me so much is that it evokes a beautiful summer night, a late summer evening. Probably the sky is still slightly tinged with blue and the moon is up. And it's a love poem, and it's so moving that he didn't get to finish it, because the last two lines, I read them as, of the regret that pleasure cease, seeking life alone, not peace. And I interpolated the word cease. It's actually not there in the manuscript. There's just a gap. He didn't know what word to write. I think it must have been the word cease because it rhymes with peace. But we'll never really know because he drowned probably only a few weeks after writing this beautiful poem to Jane Williams. So thank you for sharing that with me, First Church. And I'll make another of these videos next week. If you have a poem that you particularly love and would like me to read, then email it to me, all right? Okay, lots of love.